Welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona, and I'm glad you decided to tune in. Hey everyone! In today's podcast episode, we're going to answer the question, is self-love selfish? I'm also going to share with you a super simple self-love definition, and I'm going to give you 3 self-love examples that you can easily implement into your daily life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Simona, certified life coach and author of the book 111 Ways to Simplify Your Life. I make weekly podcast episodes on personal development, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. Before we dive into it, I have some amazing news to share with you. You know, I've been hinting here and there about this secret project that I've been working on. Well, it's finally here, and it's going to help you discover the shortcut to self-love. I'm so excited to present to you the Self-Love Toolkit. It's my proven framework that will help you transform the most important relationship you will ever have in your life, the one with yourself. I created the Self-Love Toolkit to help you stop wasting your time and energy on things that don't work and help you take the shortcut to loving yourself unconditionally. If you want to check it out and get your hands on some exclusive bonuses, click the first link in the description box below or visit www.theselflovetoolkit.com. Now, let's get into the first important part of this video, which is the definition of self-love. What does self-love actually mean? I think self-love means something different to everyone, but I'm going to give you my personal take on it. For me personally, self-love is about loving yourself for exactly who you are, being compassionate, gentle, and patient with yourself, and realizing what your emotional needs are and knowing how to meet them on your own. The best part about self-love is that it's not one size fits all. The truth is that only you can define what self-love means to you. So here comes my answer to the controversial question I mentioned in the beginning, and that is self-love selfish? Yep, you guessed it right. My answer is gonna be no. While that comes as no surprise, the important thing here is the reason why I think it's not selfish to love yourself. Let me give you a bit of a backstory. Growing up, I was taught that self-love was selfish. Every time I tried to take care of myself, I felt guilty. People-pleasing became my default mode. I was constantly trying to please everyone around me and meet their needs. It made me feel like I was a good person. I was doing the right thing. After all, I didn't want to be called selfish. Fast forward to the moment when I realized that I had abandoned myself yet again. I had put everyone else's needs before my own. I felt exhausted, angry, frustrated, disappointed, and sad. I remember sitting on the floor in my old kitchen and crying for hours. Until it dawned on me, I didn't have to do anything to deserve love. I already had love. I was love. That was the moment I promised to myself that I would always put myself first. I haven't abandoned myself ever since. Why am I telling you this story? Because I want you to know what happens when you've neglected yourself for far too long. By not being there for yourself, you're telling yourself that you cannot be trusted. And that is a huge problem if you want to trust others. So, to go back to that question, self-love is not selfish, because if you don't take good care of yourself, you won't be able to be at your best for other people. It's like donating money to charity when you're starving and you have no roof over your head. Can you do it? Yes. Is it gonna be the healthy, wise thing to do in that situation? Not really. Now, here is the truth. Society, your family, teachers, and friends, they all have their own ideas of how life should look like. The problem is, if you listen to everyone else's idea of who you should be, you're robbing yourself of your individuality. Self-love is about knowing who you are, showing up unapologetically, being kind and compassionate to yourself, and most importantly, being there for yourself when you need it the most. So no, I don't think self-love is selfish. In fact, I think that transforming the relationship you have with yourself by practicing self-love will set the foundation for any other relationship in your life. If you're kind, compassionate, and loving to yourself, you're gonna have the energy to help others as well. Choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you caring, loving, and accepting of yourself. Not feeling guilty about putting yourself first is the crucial step towards living a healthy and fulfilling life. The truth is that if you live out of integrity and love to yourself, you will be able to show up for others as well. After all, you can't pour from an empty cup. Okay, Now that we've discussed what self-love really is and how showing up for yourself is not selfish, let's get into some self-love examples. My first self-love example is setting healthy boundaries. When you hear the word self-love, setting healthy boundaries is probably not the first thing that comes to mind. That's exactly why I decided to address it first. One of the things I learned the hard way is that loving yourself sometimes means saying no. Even if you feel uncomfortable, even if you're scared that you're gonna offend the other person, even if every fiber of your being wants you to cave and do what they want you to do. So what is the first small step you can take when it comes to setting healthy boundaries? Learn to tune into your body and check if you really want to do something or not. Here's an example. Let's say one of your friends invites you to have dinner, but you'd rather stay at home. Before replying, try to notice what's happening in your body. Do you feel nervous and unsettled, or excited and happy? Pay attention to the sensations in your body. If you feel like your body is shrinking, the answer you're probably looking for is no. And if you feel like it's expanding, then saying yes will most likely be your best bet. Okay, so what happens when you realize your true answer, but you still feel anxious to say no? What if you're afraid that you will hurt their feelings or feel guilty afterward? Well, in that case, I have some tough love for you. You don't owe anything to anyone. Your feelings are valid. If you feel like saying no, just say it politely. You don't have to over-explain yourself or defend yourself because you're not responsible for anyone's reactions to your actions. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Setting healthy boundaries is gonna feel like a truly hard task in the beginning. So be patient with yourself. You won't be able to get it right every time, and that's okay. Give yourself grace. Which actually brings me to the second self-love example. Sit with your feelings. If you've been trying to run away from your feelings, I hear you. Facing the void inside, as I like to call it, was one of my worst fears. I just didn't love myself enough to have the courage to sit with my pain. So how can you sit with your feelings and be kind and gentle with yourself? Well, the first thing I want you to do is find a quiet place where you know you won't be disturbed for 10 to 15 minutes. Sit somewhere comfortable. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now I want you to notice what's happening in your mind. Do you notice any repetitive thoughts? Are they trying to hijack your attention from focusing on a present moment? Pay attention to your thoughts without judging them. Then, try to tune into your body. Are there any uncomfortable sensations? Where are they located the most? Can you describe the predominant emotion you feel? Breathe through it. Let it pass through your body, no matter how uncomfortable it is. You are here for yourself, and you aren't going anywhere. It's safe to let go. Let the emotion come to the surface. When you feel a sense of relief, gently move your arms and legs. Open your eyes. If you still feel upset, give yourself a nice hug. I want you to treat yourself like you would treat your best friend in that situation. Be kind, soft, and patient. Stay still for a while. Now that you know how to sit with your feelings without resisting them, let's get into my next self-love example. Move from self-criticism to self-compassion. This is a hard one, especially if you're used to being too critical of yourself. You know that little voice in the back of your head that's always there, lurking in the background, saying mean things to you? That is your inner critic. It's not you. It's the internalized voice of a parent, teacher, or primary caretaker, someone who criticized you growing up. Now, the interesting thing is that sometimes your inner critic is actually trying to protect you in a way. It's trying to keep you safe by never going out of your comfort zone. But no matter what you've been getting out of this dysfunctional relationship with your inner critic, it's time to let it go. I go way more in depth on how to silence your inner critic and practice self-compassion in the Self-Love Toolkit, but I wanted to give you something actionable that you can implement right away. Work on improving your inner monologue by questioning the inner critic. Next time you say to yourself something like, "You're unlovable, you don't deserve anything, you will always end up alone," I want you to notice that and start looking for evidence of the opposite. For example, you can talk back to your inner critic by saying something like, "That is not true. I am lovable. I have a partner who loves me. My friends love me. My pets love me. And now I'm also working on loving myself. And you know what? I will never be alone because I will always have myself." What you can also do is detach yourself from it completely. You don't even have to talk back. Simply know that whatever this inner critic is saying is not true, and it doesn't deserve your precious time and energy. What you can also do is ask yourself one simple question. Is this a fact? And if it's not, you don't have to dwell on it anymore. Since self-love is such a broad topic and we had a lot to explore, I will make more podcast episodes in the future that cover different aspects of it, self-love journaling prompts, and so on. But if you want to get ahead on your self-love journey and take the shortcut instead, I invite you to check out the Self-Love Toolkit. It has all the tools you could possibly need to practice self-love. Plus, you will get some exclusive bonuses that you won't be able to find anywhere else. So if you want to learn how to love yourself unconditionally, make sure to head over to theselflovetoolkit.com. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like it. And subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. I'm sending you all my love, and I'll talk to you in the next one.